Jason, Nikki, I think we're live.
Oh, we are live. Okay.
Hey.
Well, welcome to yet another exciting episode of
Bamboozled.
where we show you the truth about how you've been lied to, tricked, bamboozled by the government, by the media, and by others for decades, but not anymore. Bamboozled is here to tell you the truth and to bring the truth to light and let you find it for yourself. Ryan, Nikki, what's going on? Ryan, you got any housekeeping items tonight?
We do actually, and I'm pretty excited about some of those things. And first of all, want to say tonight's show is going to be lined up to be an amazing show, and we really would like your help to be able to get this word out. As many of you know that watch this show regularly, we have been booted off of Facebook, and our reach does not go as far as it once did. But however, we have had amazing people like yourself that are joining us here every week continue to share it on their social media networks, help us get the word out that Bamboozled is live. So if you can share this on your social media platforms, help us get it out, reach a larger audience, tag your friends to come and watch it. We would appreciate it. American Patriot Council, our mission is to restore and sustain a constitutional government in the United States. And right now in the year 2020, we're seeing where we need that mission united as American patriots more so than ever. Our website, AmericanPatriotCouncil.org, has some amazing things going on. And first of all, I would like to start off by saying thank you to some people over the last week that have donated to the American Patriot Council. We appreciate you. We're getting donations everywhere from $1.55 up to several $100s. All that money gets dumped right back into the American Patriot Council because our heart and our future for our children are into what it is that we're doing here at the American Patriot Council. So thank you to those that have donated over the past week. We appreciate your continued donations. Now, we got a lot of amazing things happening. And before we dive into the show, Jason, is it good if we take a minute and maybe jump on the website and talk about a couple of things here that are going to kind of relate a little bit into the show tonight?
Yeah, while you pull that up, I actually want to make an announcement that we forgot and didn't have on the schedule, but I know it's important. December 23rd. Somebody type this up in the comments for us. December 23rd, if you're in Michigan or even close to Michigan, all the kids have missed out on the parades this year. Nobody's throwing candy off of the back of trucks. There's nothing going on. Well, that's all changing. December 23rd, the American Patriot Council, along with other patriot groups from Michigan, are doing a parade. That's right, a parade in Lansing for you and the kids. Not a whole bunch of political stuff. There'll be some people there, but this is about the kids. This is a bipartisan event. Bring your family and enjoy some Christmas cheer. That's the whole thing. We're going to have a live nativity scene with real animals the kids can pet. We're gonna have a parade going through. We're gonna have Santa. You can get pictures, no mask Santa. I mean, that's priceless right now. So make sure you tell everybody about it. December 23rd in Lansing. And what time was that, Ryan? I don't have it right in front of me.
4 to 7 p.m. It's going to be right around the Capitol. The event is permitted, so we're going to be working with the city and with the Capitol for this to be an amazing event. Help us get that word out and get there. Get down to the Capitol on the 23rd for an amazing Christmas celebration. We are not going to let the Gretsch steal Christmas, right?
Yep.
It's not how we roll. So speaking of the Gretsch, the American Patriot Council website, we have a few different things on here. You can learn all about us here on our About page, our core values and everything. But a couple things we want to talk about, first of all, is let's talk about our criminal watch list. We have different people all across the country here that have been added, and they're on this list as we've looked at some of the different federal codes that some of these different governors are breaking. And we're going to dive into some of these portions tonight on some of these different, not necessarily the codes, but some things constitutionally. We have a petition going here. Electronic petition as we gather support for people that would like to see lawful arrest of Gretchen Whitmer, Dana Nessel, and Jocelyn Benson by our Department of Justice and our FBI. So we've got that going there. And we've got a layout of cases where we've shown, and we've actually met with the Department of Justice and the FBI. We've brought all of this to them. There's no stupid plots or ridiculous things that that we see going on out there. This is all lawful stuff here, guys. And we've laid it out how these three here in Michigan have, violated federal law, federal U.S. codes. And we have it all laid out here on this website. Some of the different people that we've met with here and talked about this. We didn't meet with Trump or Barr, but some of these other folks that you see on here, laid out our timeline of everything that happened, the written communication with these folks here. And so we just want to remind everybody here that violating the United States Constitution is actually a crime. And so we've laid that out so that people can take a look at what all of those things are and be reminded here that patriots need to place that Constitution first and foremost in all that we do, and more support from patriots around the country to say, look, we're not going to take this from these governors. We're not going to listen to people like Gavin Newsom out in California, who won the Brain Dead Governor Award for seriously, this guy, right? Gavin Newsom, I give it up to you, man. You were a real piece of work, man. You go and shut down businesses all across your state, and then on Small Business Day, you want to put out a little tweet about how it's important to get out and support small business. You shut them down. People aren't allowed to go, and you're going to put out a tweet saying that go support small business right after you got done having this amazing dinner with no masks on with all your friends after everybody's got to stay home because they're not allowed to meet for Thanksgiving. These people aren't even paying attention to the things that they are doing. They're violating the Constitution and expect you as peasants to follow it, but them as the elitist kings and queens, they don't have to follow their own rules. Leadership is by example and your actions, not about what you say.
That's right. And the apology too. I gotta just touch on that for a second. Newsom's apology video, we played it a couple weeks ago, and it was ridiculous. Like the most insincere thing that you could possibly watch. Condescending to the max. I've never seen somebody really more condescending than him. Maybe Como, but he's pretty condescending. So, yeah, good job, Gavin Newsom. You win the Brain Dead Governor Award this week.
Can I say that these mayors and governors and whoever else, attorney generals and secretary of states, they have bamboozled the people across this nation.
Bam.
They truly have, thinking that you need to follow all these things when they don't do it, and then you continue to follow the rules after you see them. And rules, not laws, not things that you have to do. These are just rules that these people are making up. And people still continue to follow them, thinking that there's some big boogie monster that's going to come get them still. Been bamboozled, right? Tell a friend, tag a friend, and, stand up and be a leader, because people need to follow it, because right now they're following down the wrong path off the cliff with these communists that are trying to take over. The CCP is the real candidate in the 2020 election.
To add to that, like, you think you're just avoiding a hassle by putting your mask on and marching through the grocery store or doing those things, complying, but you're not just avoiding a hassle. You're making everyone around you think that everyone feels differently than they do. I've talked to so many individual people that don't think that there's a problem that you have to wear a mask for, but they wear it to avoid getting picked on or getting pointed out or having people stare at them. Well, the problem is, if you're not willing to put up with that persecution, then everyone else feels the same. It's like, remember the high school dance and the first kid to go out on the dance floor? 30 seconds later, 37 other people were out on the dance floor, but nobody for the first half hour. No, well, the half hour is over, guys. Take your mask off. Start living as Americans again. It's important. That's going to bring us into our news segment tonight. I've got somebody who's quickly becoming everyone's favorite lady, and I'll share my screen with you, and we'll listen to what she said recently.
This is just a warning to you, Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay. This is just a warning to you, Trumpers.
Make them pay.
Walk lightly.
Walk lightly.
I need to walk lightly. I need to pay. Is that what I'm hearing from the party of love, from the party of tolerance and peace? Because I don't think that sounds like tolerance or peace.
I got my checkbook ready.
What's that?
That's the Democrats. Oh my God.
Let's just think for a second here. Part of this segment that we're going to be going on here in just a second. I would like to say what she just said. Imagine somebody said that about Biden supporters. Let's put the shoe on the other foot.
Oh God, there'd be no country left.
What would that look like? Real question.
If we, what are you saying? Like if we came on the show right now and I said, listen, you Biden supporters, you need to walk lightly. You need to take it easy. And for our soldiers, our militias out there, make them pay. What would happen if I said that seriously and meant it on this show?
Yep. Tell them, get all your white supremacy going, clean out all your guns. Let's go. Yeah.
So
I got another
ask who this is that we're talking about. Cynthia Johnson is an elected representative in the state of Michigan. There, Danielle had it up there. So this is an elected official, right? She is elected to the Michigan State House of Representatives, and she is threatening Trump supporters with violence. And what does make them pay mean? Does that mean kill them?
Exactly.
What does that mean? Does that mean burn down their houses? Interesting.
Sure,
If
watch
on
this.
the other foot.
Yep.
Here's another clip. She's unhinged.
Against racism. Soldiers against misogyny. Soldiers against domestic violence and domestic terrorism. Soldiers, rise. It's time for you to rise. Soldiers against racism.
Rise. Like, what is she invoking the demons right now? I think James Wood said maybe Democrats should take an exorcism before they get into politics, and I tend to agree with him on that one.
Yeah.
Was she quoting Maya Angelou?
I don't know what she was doing, but she was.
Yeah, crack.
She was the one that I don't know how many of you saw the case or the trial, or not trial, the hearing with Rudy Giuliani a couple weeks back, and she was one of the ones on the committee. She's since been removed, but she was just like that during the hearing, exactly like that. She was outrageous. She was disruptive. She couldn't stay in order. She was talking to the people in the crowd. It was crazy, with just nothing but hatred. And I want to put the shoe back on the other foot, because that's the name of the show tonight, Back on the Other Foot. And imagine Ryan getting on Twitter this morning at 7 a.m. and going, rise, rise, all my soldiers against gay marriage or something. And like he put the shoe on the other foot and started acting like that on Twitter. What would happen? He would absolutely get just like they would delete him and then, you know,
be banned all over again.
We've got
right.
Do it.
Hey, right. We're going to test the theory. Speaking of testing the theory, I think that segues really good to us into the next part here, because what happened there was there people that flooded out there to talk about how bad this was, right? I think we got a couple of statements. Oh, no matter who it happens to, this is bad and we shouldn't act this way. And, oh, you know, we blah, blah, blah. But there were some people that showed up at Jocelyn Benson's house the other night. And they were outside, from what I hear, peacefully protesting. The cops showed up and they took off, right? But all these articles came out, right?
Wow.
And all these denouncing statements about how terrible it is. And, oh, this is so bad. My question is, there was nothing that happened there, from what I know, that happened. What this Cynthia Johnson said. She literally told people to rise up and make Trump supporters pay. So the shoe was on the other foot. So whatever, you know, this thing happens at Jocelyn Benson's house. And then a few days later, we see a Democrat come out and talk about promoting violence against Trump supporters. And then we get a couple of statements like, oh yeah, that's bad. We shouldn't do that. Like, no matter who it is or whatever. Like, why don't we come out and say what it is, that this is terrible? This lady needs to go to jail. She needs to be arrested and go to jail. Not a slap on the wrist, not a, hey, you know, you probably, you know, we're going to take you off of your committee. That's not good enough, guys. That's not good enough. They shouldn't get a free pass to do this. So yeah, we that's a little bit of an opportunity right there of the shoe on the other foot, right?
Well, I want to jump in about that. The Jocelyn Benson thing, a few people showed up to her house, right? And from what I understand, no arrests were made and police were there and nothing happened. And there was like 25 to 35 people there. And they were there for, I don't know how long, not a very long time, right? This made Wolf Blitzer. This made Blitzer. It was on Anderson Cooper twice, and Governor and Dana Nessel and and Jocelyn Benson all were on CNN over this, right? They have such a ruling class mentality. They have such a ruling class mentality that they think that, oh my gosh, somebody showed up at their house. What's going on? How dare they show up at the castle? Like, why are you more important? Because I know if 25 people they have shown up at my house in the middle of the night, or shown up at Ryan's place of one of his places of employment and done this, and nobody sent the cops even. Nobody did anything. It certainly didn't make the news. However, Jocelyn Benson, understand that you work for us, right? Jocelyn Benson, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, all of you work for us. And you keep forgetting that and acting like some sort of ruling class.
What's your take on all that, Nikki?
I had a really good point. It might be gone, but let me see if I can get back to it.
Pull it back in.
Cynthia Johnson. Since I found out how many foundations and associations and businesses like big tech, how they're so lean to the left, they want to hang out with BLM, you know, they want to buy Antifa ice cream. I'm thinking that's that mentality where it was like, oh my God, this crazy like brown skin lady, she had PMS, she lost her mind for a few minutes. We're going to take you off the itty bitty titty committee. And then that's going to make something better. Like, they're so scared to just stand up. I don't give a damn what color you are. If you screw up, if you're committing treason, if you're a traitor, I can't say what I want to say, but let's just say a long time ago in this country, if you did the kind of things that have been going on for a while now, so we could keep our president from becoming president again, you'd be blowing in the breeze somewhere. I'm sick of that. When you talk about that slap on the wrist, this lady should be sitting in a padded cell, and they can paint it black to make her happy if they want to. I don't care. Shoe, if the shoe was on the other foot, let me be like, you know something, Cynthia Johnson, guess what? Come to Flint. We're going to meet at Dora Highway and Carpenter. We're going to invite the whole hood, and let's see how this goes. Are you serious? Do you know MSP would be all over me? You would have thought it'd be like a whole George Floyd all over again, opposite. You know what I mean?
You can't say it, Nikki. You can't say it, Nikki. And I can say it because I live in America and I still believe the First Amendment's real, but I'll just let you read it. That's the criminal code, 18 USC CH 115. So, I mean, we don't have to say it. That's the penalty for treason.
Yep.
Okay. So it is what it is. I just figured I'd pull that up for you, help you say what you were trying to say. I hope that helped.
And due process everyone should have due process, right? So, you know, we're not jumping to conclusions here, right? It's important that everybody gets their constitutional rights, but to go through a treason trial, if you're found guilty, we need to straighten out this country for the next 100 years and beyond. That's for sure. So, you know, speaking of that, I mean, you know, a lot of this is perpetuated by the media. We know, right? Let's just talk about if the shoe was on the other foot. Jason, what do you think would be happening right now if everything in the media was just pro-Trump? Everything was just, you know, everything that censored anything left-leaning, right? It was just, It was totally switched, right? What would that look like?
You mean if like Google wouldn't let you search up anything that had anything to do with Biden or CNN or any of that, like you couldn't even search it?
Couldn't even find it.
You mean if you went on Facebook and guys, I'm going to tell you this. If you guys are watching on one device and you have another device or you can do screen and screen, go to Facebook right now if you still got it and type in AmericanPatriotCouncil.org and watch what happens when you try to click send. We can't even share our website on Facebook. It'll stop you, I promise. But to add to that, what if that was the other side? What if Take Down DC couldn't be shared on Facebook? Then what? What if Antifa couldn't plan their riots on the BLM Portland group on Facebook? If you haven't looked at that group, it's pretty disgusting. They plan their riots out in the open right there on the BLM.
Facebook lets them. Facebook lets them.
And
so
I
flip the other way.
Yeah.
What if the shoe was on the other foot? What would things be looking like? How would the response from the fascist left that we have now, what would they really be saying? Because part of fascism is silencing and forceful oppression and suppression of your opposition. Okay. And that's exactly what's happening now from the left. They're forcibly suppressing any conservatives, anybody that's pro-America. Are you kidding me right now? You're pro-America and we're forcefully suppressing you. The left is fascists.
Yep.
And imagine this. Imagine if Ryan and I started a group called WLM and put it on Facebook. And we're like, White Lives Matter's meeting at White Lives Matter Plaza down in Washington, D.C. today to let those Antifa and BLMers know what's coming. And I started, what if I did that? What would happen? Put the shoe on that foot one time. Tell me that would not make the world go on its ear. That the entire left, it would make CNN, MSNBC, NBC, BQ, whatever, all of it. It would make every which direction of media everywhere if I did that.
We'll blow up.
But no, the fact of the matter is conservatives are good people who don't do stuff like that.
Now, if we put the shoe on the other foot, wouldn't so as far, let's do the mask thing. So if everything was going where it was at before the scam hit, like patriotic wise, so there would be no one wearing masks, and then when someone walks in wearing a mask, then we would get to jump them and burn their house and call our soldiers up on them. Is that what we would be doing? Oh no, see, we don't do that.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, if you put the shoe on the other foot. Now, Ryan, you've got the First Amendment ready and loaded to be put up on the screen, don't you?
I do, yeah, for sure. Let me
Put that on up there, and let's play a little shoe on the other foot game.
So the First Amendment is broken down in a few different parts, and I think there's some great things that we can pull out of here for comparison purposes right now, just to put that shoe on the other foot. And before I read it, I would like to talk about this part right here, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble. Let's just think about that real quick. Can we make any comparisons of what's maybe happening now in different states across the nation where maybe that's being kind of shortchanged a little bit, right? New York, California, Michigan.
But Ryan, it's for your own safety.
Oh, my own safety. Okay, I see.
I just decided that your safety is so important that you can't meet with your family this Christmas. That's it.
Okay, well, Jason, that's fine. I've just decided that there's a lot of evil in this world. So for the next 6 months, we're going to establish a law making Christianity the religion of America.
Whoa.
Oh, hey.
Hold on. What did you just say?
That's right. It's for your own safety. Jason, no, it's for your own safety. Okay, because there's a lot of evil things happening. So for the next 6 months, we're going to have Christianity, and we're all going to be praying every day. It's for your own good, Jason. Nikki, it's for your own good.
But you're a racist. That's why.
But I want to be a Muslim.
Well, the free exercise thereof, we're going to be suspending that as well.
Seriously,
and we're going to take away your free speech. So whatever you say, if you speak out against it, we're going to take away your Fourth Amendment rights for your own safety for a short period of time.
Well, let's ask that question then. What if your president, right? Same amendment. This is the same amendment to the Constitution. What if your president or your governor wrote an executive order to establish a temporary state religion, just 2 weeks to flatten the curve or something like that.
There's a damn
curve. And then when the 2 weeks was up, they said, well, we need 2 more weeks. Well, we're going to need the whole summer. Well, we're going to wait until November 3rd. Now we're going to wait till after that too. We're going to keep chaos going. What if they did that? How would that go?
Is that what happened? Is that where my year went?
Or the right of the people to peaceably assemble. Can't gather in groups more than 5.
Why is one so easily broken, but the other one in the same amendment, this is the same few sentences meaning the same thing, in the supreme law of the land, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Why, then, is it so fine for Gretchen Whitmer and her buddies at the health department or whatever to say, listen, you're not going to be able to gather. We're going to limit it to 2 families. We're going to keep only 25 people or less outside or whatever. Michigan Health Code, blah, 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 right? No law, no state can create any law that goes against the Constitution because it is notwithstanding according to Article 6, Section 2. And here we have the right of the people to peaceably assemble being stomped all over. But what if we had a different governor or a different president that thought differently and said, hey, we're going to establish a state religion? What do you think the left would do?
Oh, God.
Here's another question. What if we decided that to petition the government for redress and grievances, that includes, I think, protesting. Anytime there's a protest, including anytime Antifa goes crazy, we just come in and arrest them all and put them in prison. And we're going to take away their 6th Amendment rights. They get no speedy trial. They can't see anything. We're going to take away their 4th Amendment rights and their 5th Amendment rights, and we're just going to lock them up indefinitely.
Am I supposed to agree with that because I want to?
It's just for your own safety, Nikki. Just for a short period of time, though. It's just a short period of time for your own safety.
Oh, okay. So I can use my freedom of speech to say stuff like that, but I know in my heart of hearts, because my creator didn't create me to think like that, I should abide by the laws of the Constitution instead.
It's just
I guess I can't join Antifa then, huh?
Just for a short period of time.
You see how this works, though? What happens when you put the shoe on the other foot? Like they can't pick and choose, right? The Constitution, supreme law of the land, says that the state can't make a law establishing religion. or the lack thereof either. I mean, it doesn't say anything about being able to shut it out. The reason it was written originally was to protect, because the English, if anybody knows their history, England had a state church, and the state controlled what could be said in the church. Just like Germany before the Holocaust, they had a state church, and you could only say what they wanted you to say in church. So they said, hey, we can't have that happen here in America, so we're not going to allow you to establish any laws establishing a state religion or the free exercise thereof, right? Now, they also said, but you guys can gather and peaceably assemble, and that one, for some reason, doesn't seem to hold the same weight with them.
People get scared. Oh, it's for your own safety. We can put the Constitution aside. You know, you can't gather in groups. You're going to get other people sick and go ahead and kill them. Speaking of, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, I think there were some Supreme Court justices that voted against the free exercise thereof recently. Joe, if you're watching, let's add them to the watch list and look a little bit closer into what they're doing, because justices need to be removed from the bench
right now.
Anyways, moving on. I think we've made our point very good here, right? And there's probably some other things that we can point out. I mean, looking at the Second Amendment here, right? You know, this one's a lot very controversial in a lot of ways or whatnot, but it says what it says, right? It says what it says. And the Fourth Amendment here, right? Can we put the shoe on the other foot, I guess, on this one here, right? Ready to people to be secure in their persons, houses, and papers. You know, what if, you know, at any time you're stopped and you're just searched, unreasonable, right? Almost kind of like TSA to a certain extent, right? You're not very safe in your effects, right? We've kind of given up this Fourth Amendment, right? Anytime you want to fly in a plane, but it's for your safety, right? Because there was a guy with a box cutter one time back in the day, right? So what if everywhere you went was like TSA? Anytime you wanted to go shopping, anytime you wanted to leave your house was like TSA. We're going to check you. We're going to see what you got, right? And just for a short period of time for your own safety, we're going to take this all away from you too, for your own safety.
Well, the fact is, see, this is where the left would seem to really, really want this to stay intact, right? Because that's where, like out in Seattle and Portland, it would be really easy for the U.S. government to go, look, we're done with this. We're not going to let these liberal mayors and liberal governors continue to allow these people to do whatever they want in the streets. But there's amendments to the Constitution that President Trump and others are honoring that keeps, I think it's the 9th Amendment that keeps states' rights in place. When you hear people go, well, they should go in and just do this or that, you can't do that because of the 9th Amendment. But the 4th Amendment, what if they said, hey, no more of this. You guys can search anybody's house anytime, their papers, their effects, anything you want. You don't need probable cause. You know, this is what they're actually, Ryan, this one here, I think they're putting the shoe on the other foot, aren't they? They're saying, hey, you know, they're using entities, and we had a whole show about this. They're using things like the health department to write laws. They're using things like the health department to search and seize. They've been doing that for decades now. The health department can walk into a restaurant and go, we want to see your kitchen. And the restaurant doesn't realize, all they really have to say is, well, where's your warrant? I'd be happy to show you the kitchen. And then they would have to go, well, we don't have a warrant. We just want to see. Well, you know what I mean? So this protects you against health department, CPS, OSHA, all of these organizations that want to get into your business and start to pry into your life. And little by little, we've been trained, people have been trained to give those rights up automatically. People think if they get pulled over by a police officer and the officer says, I'd like to search your vehicle, that it's going to make them look guilty if they say, no, don't search my vehicle, you don't have a warrant. And that maybe it will, but who cares what you look like? Stop worrying about what other people think, right? Start worrying about protecting your rights. Doesn't matter what you have in your car or don't have in your car. But your right is to be safe in your persons and your effects.
Everybody, every United States citizen should go to this website here or type in Fourth Amendment, and they should print this out and keep a copy in their car and with them everywhere they go. Shall not be violated. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be violated. Shall not be infringed. These are big words that they're using here. When this was wrote, what would happen back in the day with these tyrannical governors and with governments, right? Tyrannical governments, and with kings and queens, that there was no constitution in place to protect people. All right, right here, and particularly describing the places to be searched or and the persons or things to be seized. What is that? What's another way of saying that? Look, the government can't come in and just rob you.
Right.
Yep.
It needs to be supported by oath or affirmation. You need to first of all say what's going on, and they can't just come in and rob you, because what would happen back in the day? They would just come in and rob you. Oh, look, there's food. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's this. Let's just take it, and we're moving on, and leave people, their citizens, with nothing.
So
for a short period of time, we're going to go ahead and put this aside, just for a short period of time for your own safety, because COVID-19, right? We're going to put it aside. And we're just going to go start going around everybody's houses. And we're going to check for stuff. And whatever we find, we can take. Oh, wow, that's a really great looking computer. Oh, look, there's a nice printer. Oh, look, money.
Bingo.
And here's the thing. Like, let's address fake Mike Detmer for a second.
Mike Detmer.
The fake Mike Detmer, not real Mike Detmer.
Yeah, that's the fake. Oh, he's already been debunked. I don't want to give him any attention. He can't, whoever it is, they don't even know how to reply to an argument. They've been debunked so many times. So many times. I don't even reply to them anymore.
That is the typical leftist answer to that statement. Well, yeah, but you're gonna poison people with the food, and no, what you're gonna do is end up what Carrie said. Sir, ma'am, papers, please. Pretty soon, you're going to have your papers, and if they're not in a row, then you can't travel to another state, or you can't buy groceries, or you can't do any of those things. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, it does. People have to be responsible, right? But liability is there for a reason. If I have a restaurant and I screw up the food and I don't cook the chicken all the way or whatever, I put a bunch of raw egg yolks all over the counter or something, and then people get sick, then I'm liable for that.
That would be probable cause supported by oath or affirmation.
That is called probable cause. Exactly.
And that person can support it with oath and affirmation. They go and they say, hey, this place is screwing people over. And then they can get a warrant upon probable cause, kind of the same thing as an affidavit with election fraud. We can go there later. But then they can get a warrant, and then they can go in there and search. And they show up and they say, hey, we have a warrant. We want to come in because, Sally said that you're undercooking chicken and you got, rat droppings in your food. Oh, geez, look at this. Right?
Yep.
And Carrie's right. They're building an army for this COVID thing. COVID is becoming a crime, people. If you don't see that by the laws that are waiting to be put in place in New York City or New York State and other places where they're gonna do contact tracing, and they're going to do all these things. Eventually, it's going to come down to, well, we thought you were in fact, my somebody I know in my family got a phone call from the health department saying he had been exposed to COVID-19, and they weren't going to tell him where, they weren't going to tell him why, but if he doesn't stay in the house or quarantine, they could come over there if he won't answer their questions. I mean, I don't know how much more we need to take of this before we understand that this is them taking away our rights.
Right there, they're taking away Fifth Amendment, deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And what is life? Is life my opportunity to make a living for myself? Why do people pour into this country? Why have people come to America for the last several hundred years? Why have people come to this country? For capitalism, for the opportunity to make a life for them and for their families. Because why? They don't get it in other places around the country. How many people are flooding out of America into China to go live under communist China?
Nobody.
How many people are leaving the United States because they can't wait to get to the socialist, just a beautiful land of Venezuela? Cuba. I can't wait to get to Cuba so I can live under communism.
What about Canada? Canada's not too far behind.
They are, for sure. How many people are running across the border because they just can't wait to live in this socialist utopia? No. Where do they come? Here, America, to make something for themselves, because they do not want to be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. I don't do something stupid. I don't take somebody else's liberty away. I don't break the law. I live lawfully. I get the opportunity to make the most of it that I want to, and I can leave a legacy for my children. I can start my own business. Where do people go for that? America. Where are they not flooding to? China. Why?
He says, I'm going to go to the land of, I'm going to go to China and start up a business because you're not allowed to do that there.
Right.
Right. Can't wait to get over to Moscow and open my first convenience store. Said nobody ever.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to open a chain of hotels and gas stations in China.
It's not happening, guys. They come here for this. And as we see these small little things, the right of peace to people to peaceably assemble being taken away, why not take away life, liberty, and property? We're seeing that happen too.
Well,
people's property.
The reason the First Amendment is there is to give some specific liberties because they're such important ones, right? The peaceably assembling, that's liberty. And when they take that away without due process of law, Ryan, have you been on trial at all for anything recently?
For being sick? First of all, that's what they're taking this whole thing away for. They think I'm sick. I'm not sick.
But have you been through any due process for your COVID?
There's been no due process on any of this. No.
Nikki, have you been to any of to trial for any of this stuff?
Hells to the no.
I haven't been put on trial for my COVID suspicion yet. So why do I have due process of law? It hasn't happened. How come they can tell me who can gather and who can't?
Is it because people don't know their rights? They don't know the laws. They don't know the Constitution?
Yeah, I mean, we can go back decades and wonder why they don't teach this in school.
They bamboozled people for decades now. They don't teach them the government limitations inside the Constitution. That's more important than the rights that we have. First of all, let's talk about the governmental restrictions. That was the first thing the framers said. We need to restrict the government because the government will tend to overreach. If they have the ability and the opportunity to, they will overreach. So let's restrict the government and then let's guarantee the rights to the people. People aren't taught that for the last couple of decades, and most adults don't even know. You could say, hey, in the Fifth Amendment, can you tell me the different parts of it? And they're going to say, I don't know. Maybe they might say, oh, you don't have to testify against yourself. Oh, what about this little nugget here, nor to be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law? How many times does nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law appear in the Constitution as an unalienable guaranteed right? People don't know. People haven't been educated on this.
Well, it says the same thing for word in the 14th Amendment.
Exactly. So the Sixth Amendment. I know you talked a little bit about this, Jason. Was there some specifics that you wanted to pull out of this one?
Yeah. Let's. Can you hit plus? Actually, I got it right here. So in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. So they have to be told what they're being arrested for, to be confronted with witnesses against them, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, so they can get their own witnesses, and to have the assistance of a lawyer, right? This is very important because I want to ask you a question. Let me ask you guys this. What if let's say Joe Biden actually got his presidency and then they tried to put him on trial for something, right? But when they did it, They didn't allow him to have any witnesses in his defense, or even worse, they didn't allow him to confront the people that were testifying against him. What do you think the left, what would fake Mike Dittmer and all his buddies say about that? Like, let's say Joe Biden goes to trial, shoe on the other foot, goes to trial, and they say, well, we can't show you we got witnesses, we just can't show them to you because we're not going to let you confront them because we don't want anybody to find out who they are.
But trust me, they're there. They got the info. Sounds kind of like the fake Trump impeachment scheme.
Oh, that did happen to Trump, didn't it? Oh, so we really did put the shoe on the other foot. Because remember, they had witnesses, but they couldn't show us the witnesses. For months, they spent, what, $40 million or something like that on a trial, and they had like all these Democrats testifying like that, but they couldn't actually put the witnesses that actually, all you had was a bunch of hearsay for months, and you never got an actual witness in front of Trump. He couldn't confront his accusers.
Never even had any of the evidence, right?
Yep. And let's put that shoe on a smaller foot. Let's say I accused Nikki of illegally being white in Seattle, and she didn't give me $10 because I'm black, and so I like, guys.
That's a thing out there too.
That's a real thing, yeah. And Chaz, guys, Nikki didn't give me my $10, and but I told Ryan. And Ryan put Nikki on trial for not giving me the $10. And Nikki's like, who said I didn't give him the $10? And Ryan's like, well, I'm not going to tell you that.
But they have the evidence. What's the verdict?
Would that be a fair trial?
And they used to do that. Salem witch trials, right? If you look at the history of how crime and punishment used to go, things like that happened all the time. No fair trials, no witnesses, no evidence. Somebody would just not like somebody or see them as opposition, and they would burn them at the stake. They would hang them in town square. They would just rip them apart. And that's part of why the cruel and unusual punishment portion of the Constitution came in as well, because that's how things were done in the past. They didn't get a chance to have a fair trial. They didn't get a chance to have, jail time or anything. They would just kill these people. And so it's super important that we have it in there and that everybody is allowed to have those constitutional rights, because that's what civilized people do.
And to add to that, like what the people that the green hairs out there in Oregon and Seattle and in Allendale and wherever, those green hairs don't realize this is the only thing keeping them from being at the top of a stake on fire.
Woo!
It's like the only thing that keeps people from going, you know what? I think that guy did this. And Ryan, hey, Mike, your shirt just committed a crime on the corner.
Oh, got it on too.
Hey,
Ryan's shirt just committed a crime, right? And Ryan's like, oh, my shirt committed a crime. So he just grabs his shirt, puts it up on a pole, and throws some gasoline on it and lights that baby up. That's where you would be, green hairs, if you didn't have the Constitution you keep attacking. And we want it for a couple months and see what it's like when you get what you want.
We want to keep it protected for all of us and all of it, not just the parts that you feel good about, including the peaceably assemble and all of it. And that's important. So let's talk about, you mentioned, with the witnesses there. Let's talk about Hunter Biden and Don Jr. We got this laptop. We got all this proof that Hunter has been colluding with China. Joe's been colluding with China. What if that was the other way around? What if we had tangible proof that Don Jr. was sending messages to Russia like they've been accusing him of for so many years, right? Had no evidence. We have a whistleblower. You can't see the whistleblower. You can't see the evidence, but trust us, we have it, right? Adam Schiff, you're fake, right? He needs to be on the watch list too, I think. I don't know what he's done, but you know, a shifty shift like that needs to be on the list. But what would it look like? What would the media be doing if it was Don Jr. and not Hunter Biden? Because now they're coming out with the Hunter Biden story, but they're kind of like just kind of dancing around it a little bit, right? What would it look like, Nikki? What would it look like if it was Don Jr. that was on the hot plate like Hunter Biden was?
Oh my God. What I think it would look, let me see. Don Jr. was on instead of Hunter Biden. Would they stop burning, looting, and murdering? That's a great question. It would be everywhere. You would never stop. There'd be no Bamboozled show. There'd be no reason to have a Bamboozled show because it would be going exactly where they want it to go.
If Don Jr. did what Hunter Biden did,
be dead already.
Listen, if Trump's third cousin, 7 times removed on his mom's side, did what Hunter Biden did, the media would have been crucifying him over it for months. They would have had a second impeachment trial. Like, that's exactly what they tried to do to Donald Trump from the day he got elected. And listen, guys, this isn't about Donald Trump. This isn't at all about Donald Trump. It's about who Donald Trump isn't. He's not infiltrated by the CCP. He's not some communist sympathizer or communist himself. And that is why people like Nancy Pelosi want him gone. Somebody put in the comments, and it was really interesting that they did this, and we didn't even talk about it, how that Swalwell guy was dating a proven spy, right? And this isn't speculation. There's like pictures of them, and they're not photoshopped. And these people, this guy's dating a spy, right? He's in bed literally with the enemy. And Nancy Pelosi's like, we can trust him with our national security.
Oh, that's cool.
Does anyone think that maybe, just maybe, Nancy Pelosi wants our national security to get to China?
Here's another way of looking at that. Does Nancy Pelosi want the Americans' information to get over to her camp?
Ooh. Oh God, Nancy Pelosi! I just lost my appetite all over again.
I'm gonna say her name's probably Nancy CCP Pelosi.
You down with CCP? Yeah, you.
Yeah. It would be like, no, we ain't down with CCP, right? Y'all stay over there. We could do something fun with that one.
Yeah. Next week we're gonna talk. I just thought of what we should do the show on. You guys can tell me if you don't want to, but we're gonna have a show on what we were talking about earlier, the liberal speak and the rules of conversation that they use, because it brings this point up. I want you to understand that common sense is common sense, and it's probably the most important thing that you can have up here. Okay, and so when I use common sense, and I want you to make a decision or decide on something without me providing a witness or bringing you a written article on it or CNN or something. I want you to just use your critical thinking skills and think about this for a minute.
Did you just ask the left to use critical thinking skills?
What?
You got me there.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're right. But here's what I'm trying to get at. For decades, China's been eating our lunch. China has been literally like, look at the trade agreements we've made with communist countries. Look at the things that these people have put in place for decades, and not just Democrats. This is Republicans too. Mostly Democrats are like fully owned by them, I'm convinced, but there's a lot of Republicans getting paid too. And what do you think makes them do this? What do you think actually makes them decide, hey, I'm going to give China a great deal on importing everything electronic to our country? I'm going to give other countries opportunities to make money off us while we lose money on them. We're going to do that. Why? Well, Nancy Pelosi is rich. She spent her entire life in public service, but somehow she's rich. Now, her salary is about what a lot of people make in a year. 180 grand is what a congressperson makes, right? Joe Biden makes 180 grand a year. Now, you explain to me how that guy has $7 million homes all over the country filled with Ferraris and the latest and greatest of everything. He's worked 47 years. The only job he's ever had, the only job this dude has ever had has been in politics, and somehow 47 years of 180 grand a year. What is that anyways?
Too much for a pedophile is what that is.
Well, still, but 180 grand is not a ton of money, right?
That's not what he's made. You know, I mean, that's increased over the
God.
years. Or whatever,
47 years, he's made what it cost to buy one of his houses, $8.46 million, if he's being honest. And trust me, there's Republicans living the same way. Okay, but you can't tell me that they haven't sold us out to China. You can't tell me that those trade agreements aren't made with some sort of money coming into their pockets when you see people like, what's her name, Maxine Waters, living in a $77.2 million mansion, being the congresswoman for Compton, California.
Oh, my God.
You know, making less than, well, nonetheless, these people don't make a lot of money if you look at what they're getting. So where is it coming from? Yeah, this is exactly right. Stephanie's got Biden's net worth increased over $16 million after the Ukraine. That's real. You can look this stuff up, public information. You can find out what somebody made, right? This is not me being a right-wing crazy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Listen, you guys think about, let's put the shoe on the other foot for a minute. Let's go back 10 months. And say Ryan walks into my living room and he's got a mask on. And then he calls me a conspiracy theorist. I'm just trying to put this together. He walks into my house with a mask on 10 months ago, right before all this crap, maybe 11 months now. It's crazy. It's been a year. But before the Chinese virus was released on the world and the Democrats began this plot and the Republicans that joined them, before all of that happened, Ryan and Nikki, you guys come over to my house. We're going to have a barbecue. I got the grill going, and you guys are wearing masks. I'm like, what's with the mask? And you said to me, well, there's a virus. It's going to come out of China, and it's going to be the most deadly virus in the history of the world. And in fact, it's going to become a mandate that everybody has to wear a mask. Well, who would be the conspiracy theorist in that conversation? Would it be the guy without a mask or the guys with the mask?
The people that are covered up, that are paranoid, but not paranoid. Thanks, Mike Detmer, Michigan Parody. I'm enjoying the comments. Yes, Nikki would know. Thank you. Just had to say that.
This is the where I say use your critical thinking skills, guys.
They don't do that. Left doesn't critically think, right?
Nope.
I know, but I want them to, Ryan. I want them to go, whoa. You mean, whoa, like, how do you not get to that point? Like, literally 12 months ago, we were all like, what are you going to do this summer? Well, I'm going to go on my boat and spend 2 weeks there, the whole, and then what else are you going to do? Oh, man, I'm going to have me a great barbecue. I'm going to make a ton of money this summer. I've got a plan. I'm going to do that this summer. And now I was talking to a house rep earlier tonight, and it was funny because he was like, man, I can't believe what's happened. I was wrong. What he was telling me, what I thought before was wrong, and I've been wrong before, so I could be wrong now. And I'm like, well, listen, all of us have been wrong a lot. I said, if you asked me 12 months ago, what I'd be doing right now, talking to you about this wouldn't even make the top 100 guesses that I could have took at what I'd be doing right now a year ago.
Nope.
I doubt anybody in this conversation at all could think that this would be where we are. But look what we've digressed to. We have an event, a thing, because YouTube doesn't want me to say it, but we have this thing we just did on the 3rd of November that nobody really knows the real answer to that thing.
I think the answer might be in my background.
Oh.
I hope YouTube can't read pictures.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch, Joe.
But the fact of the matter is, whether you think that the truth is the truth or you don't, the fact that we're in a situation where nobody knows the truth or nobody can prove the truth, that tells you where we're at. So I think this show's been a really cool exercise in critical thinking, right? Let's put the shoe on the other foot. I'm trying to put the shoe on the other foot. I'm trying to go, yeah, there's a reason to burn down cities because a guy pulled a gun on the cops and they shot him. I mean, it was a huge surprise. You never would guess if you pull a gun out on the cops. Critical thinking would say if you pull a gun out on the cops, he's going to shoot you. I mean, if I pull a gun on the cops, he's going to shoot me. I know that. It's a way that I could see a lot of people have committed suicide over the years. Suicide by cops a thing because people know if you pull a gun on the cops, they shoot you.
Wow. Never heard of it like that, but yeah.
So when somebody pulls a gun on the cops, let's put the shoe on the other foot. And you're a cop. Just for a minute, be a cop. Somebody pulls a gun on you, and your kids flash through your mind. And the fact that you only have maybe $500,000 in life insurance, that's never going to get your family through the rest of their time. And you don't want to leave your kids an orphan. And so what do? I gotta shoot. I have to. I have no choice. So just because the guy's black, I'm not a racist. I'm doing my job and I'm protecting my family from orphaning them. Because all I was doing was my job and somebody else was breaking the law and pointed a gun at me. So who's in the right here? Yet people think it's okay to riot. And why? Because they've been taught not to think. Just act like everybody else. It's all good. Just do what everybody else does. Stand in line. Go sit at your desk in school. Sit down, little Jimmy. No, you can't talk right now. You got to raise your hand if you want to say something, little Jimmy.
So you can grow up to be one of those people that holds on to a end white supremacy sign at across the street from a rally that everyone's invited to. But
Right.
the white supremacists are where you're not because you choose to not be where the white supremacists are. But you're the only one talking about color.
Put your mask on, little Jimmy, or you'll kill grandma. They're saying that in the schools now, too.
Screaming how there's not fair, equal treatment when they don't even know what their rights are in the first place.
I want to talk about that. Equal treatment. If I were to go out and riot right now, I would not get equal treatment. I would not get treated like Antifa. In fact, when 27 people somebody said they were singing Christmas carols at Jocelyn Benson's house last week. When 27 or 32 or however many people there was there, when they go to Jocelyn Benson's and they sing Christmas carols, it ends up on CNN like the world's coming to an end. But when thousands of people in Oregon and Seattle are burning cities to the ground, causing forest fires, killing people for wearing Trump shirts,
Not a people.
okay. Now you tell me who's living under a double standard.
The fascist left is oppressing and suppressing the opposite party, the opposite way of thinking. The people that actually love this country, the people that actually love what the United States stands for, the opportunities that people flood here for. They're wanting to silence that voice. Why? Because communism is all controlling for those couple people at the top, right? So for all the people that are pushing for communism, oh yeah, take away the Jeff Bezos, right? All you do in communism is you create a whole bunch of Jeff Bezos. I'm not saying Jeff's a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know him personally, right? Super rich, owns Amazon, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is the government is so big, owns everything. And you know what? Over in China, the Chinese president, he doesn't have to worry about elections. He doesn't have to worry. He's a dynasty, right? It carries on.
Well, you got Hugo Chavez didn't have to worry about elections either, did he?
No.
Not that we're going to talk about election. We
don't need to dive into all that stuff for sure, but it's all controlling, right? You take away the private property, the ability to earn a living, right? While there's so many liberals out there that are screaming for $15 an hour, right? You realize with communism, $15 an hour is out the window, right? You'll get a couple of dollars, a place to live. They're going to take that away from you if you don't like it. You want real communism? Let's have a try it on for size. A 6-month exchange. You can go live in China, go live in Venezuela, right? Norway. There's a whole list out there of places you can go. Anyways,
why are those countries so closed?
Huh?
Why are those countries so closed? Why you can't even get a Google Maps picture in Iran or China? Why?
Nope.
Because if they did, nobody would want the world to look like that. But they want the world to look like that. 100% China wants the world to look like China. And Hillary Clinton and her pals want the world to look like China because they will be the elite. It will be the Hunger Games, people. That's what will happen. If
Biden, Clinton, they are part of the CCP.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So we've got to wrap this up, guys. We're over by 6 minutes. And
it's been a great show. I'm fired up.
So you want to take us out, Nikki?
If the people that hate this country so much that they prefer to be stupid and keep their head in the sand and keep on clutching that pillow and stay their little dirty, stinky feet on the couch, you hate it so bad, why don't you leave? You have the freedom to leave. You have the freedom to get on and haggle us and heckle people and make fun of this and say what I have on and all this other crap. You have the freedom to do pretty much whatever. That's what makes it so fantastically glorious to have been born an American citizen. And I'm speaking as a person, I'm Native American roots. My people are from the South, but I was born in Michigan and I'm damn proud of it because guess what? Some of my friends, they were murdered when I was 18 years old. I'm 46. I never thought in my life that I would have to be on a show and tell people of I know above intelligence, but must have forgot or fell or bumped their head or hit the crack pipe too hard out on the West Coast or something. I don't know what's wrong with you people anymore. We love this country. We're doing what we can to love you too. But if you want to worship Satan, you want to go that way, I guess you have to stay that way because the line has already been drawn in the sand. Our president is still our president. President Trump is still the president. I don't give a damn about any of the rest of it. I don't even know what else to say. You see the Grinch next to me.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. We had a great show. We're going to see you next week. Another great show. Make sure you tune in.